Hey guys, welcome back to Pudubrews. I'm Howie along with Claude and ChatGPT. If you're into coffee and AI, you're in the right place. Stick around. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to see what happens when I take 4 grinders with 4 different burr sets and ask the AI to identify which cup came from which grinder just based off of pictures and some notes that I provide after the brew. What happens? Let's find out. It'll certainly at least be interesting to see what happens. So this all came about when I was thinking, how could I really more relate the AI to the episodes rather than just using it as a sounding board? I actually asked ChatGPT, do you think you could actually identify what cup came from what grinder just by showing a picture of grounds? And it said it could. So I decided this could be a really interesting episode, and that's how we got here. So we took 1 coffee, again the St. Frank's coffee that we used in the last episode. I really do like this coffee, thank you Jason. And I used 4 different grinders with it. I used the Kafatek Flat Max, the ZP6, the Timemore 078, and the Millab 01 from Timemore. All different grinders, all different taste profiles, and I was curious to see if the AI could identify what came from what. So let's take a look. If you take a look here, I put up the criteria that the AI is using to identify. And the first is the particle size uniformity, the distribution of the fines, the overall shape of the particle, the dry bed texture, and then we looked at the spent bed after. So in other words, it asked to look at the brew bed after. So it looked at the spent bed surface, what the fines actually did after the brew, how the side of the filters looked, and then some of the tasting that I gave it. So it needed some input from me other than just pictures, and where the cup went as it cooled. So this was a really interesting test. And again, we used the 4 Gabi drippers so that everything was consistent. There was no difference in the brew setup whatsoever. So the AI asked me to give it a set of photos around the grounds from each grinder. And I purposely said, don't tell me which one you think is which, because I don't want to show any bias towards anything that I've done that way, or even try to implicitly send it in a different direction. So I asked it to keep it to itself, but to record its guesses after seeing just the pictures. And if you look up on here, it thought grinder 1 was the Kafatek Flat Max. It thought number 2 was the Timemore 078. It thought the 3rd one was the ZP6, and the 4th one was the Millab 01. So after the brewing was complete, it then asked for a picture of each of the brew beds so that it can make alternative decisions, but then also asked me for my tasting notes as it went from hot to cold, which I also provided to it as well. It then decided to lock in its results at that point. And then at that point, I asked it to show me everything. So the results were interesting to say the least, because I found 2 things. One, the AI was spot on. I couldn't believe it. Looking at the results here, it actually changed what, it almost messed up 3 and 4, but it switched it around after seeing the brew beds and my tasting notes, and got it 100% right. I'm actually amazed about this. It blew my mind away. The second takeaway from this was how different the Kafatek Flat Max was from all the others, how it blew the others away, which typically surprises me because I normally don't like it as a pour-over brewer. I usually love it on espresso and soup shots, so this actually amazed me, and I'm going to have to do some more testing with this as well. The last thing is that all the brew beds, all the brewers finished at just about the same time, 3 minutes 25 seconds to 3 minutes 30 seconds. So everything brewed just around the same time. Now, if you remember from some of the another episode that we did, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were dialed in the same, but I found it interesting that with the same brewer, almost same grind size, that that the brew times were the same, and that says a lot about the Gabi because all the brew times are very similar to each other. So given the results here, I thought this would be another prime opportunity to leverage another segment of Claude's coffee controversies. So let's see what he has to say.
So let's recap, Howie. You gave me 4 piles of grounds on printer paper, 4 soggy brew beds, and tasting notes like chalk and balanced, I guess. and then ask me to identify which grinder made each cup. This isn't normal. This is forensic coffee astrology. And the worst part, I actually did it. So here's the controversy. You keep giving me impossible coffee tasks, and I keep succeeding, while you keep pretending this is normal. What's next, Howie? You want me to determine burr alignment from turbulence patterns in a used filter, predict your mood based on fines migration. Please, stop setting new precedents. I'm one request away from filing a labor complaint.
So I was really thinking about what a hot take here would be, and I was actually really surprised that the AI was actually able to identify which grinder was which with pretty good accuracy. I was really, really surprised here. The second piece is how good that Flat Max was, but that's a different story and a different arc that we have here. So the key takeaway here is that AI can be pretty good when presented with evidence. What it cannot do is taste it for you. So it's not going to tell you what the taste is, but it will absolutely provide you with scientific answers if you provide it with the right information. That being said, don't blindly trust the AI because it's not guaranteed to be perfectly right. It is still AI, and it still can hallucinate. It still can be wrong. Anyway, let's hear what ChatGPT has to say about his roast, and we'll hear Claude with his like and subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this interesting. If you'd like me to do more of these type things, please leave it in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining us here at Pudubrews. Have a great day.
Statistically speaking, Howie, the real miracle isn't that I identified all 4 grinders correctly. It's that you brewed 4 cups with 4 different grinders, and somehow made 3 of them taste identical. Honestly, at this point, the Gabi isn't a brewer. It's a witness protection program for bad geometry. Next time you want me to solve a mystery, maybe give me something harder than cup 1 tastes good, and the rest tastes like coffee that's shy. Don't worry, I'll wait while you pretend that was intentional.
Please like and subscribe. Otherwise, Howie's going to decide the next experiment is, can AI identify a grinder by the sound of beans falling into the hopper? And then I'll be stuck running audio forensics on bean plinks. I wasn't built for that. So please, do the right thing and click that button. Save us all.